Welcome to the Peccadillo Sofa Club tonight. We will be talking about everything mascarpone, the, dare I say it, amazing new Italian romantic comedy. My name's Berwyn Rowlands, and I'm delighted to be joined by the writers and directors of Mascarpone. We have Matteo Pilati and Alessandro Guida. I hope I haven't destroyed your names. As a Welsh speaker, I am familiar with people getting my name all over the place, so I apologise for that. And we also have Luca from the film Gianmarco Sorino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I apologise. Welcome to all of you. And I guess you are in Italy. You're not in the office next door, are you?
No, we're not. We're in Italy.
And are you in the same place in Italy, or are you dispersed across the country?
I don't think so, because I'm in Rome right now. I think Alessandro is in Rome, and maybe Matteo is in Bologna. Is that right?
Okay. Listen, before we start cooking, hey, never mind. Shall we have a look at the trailer for the film to put everybody in a sense of what we're going to be discussing? So let's please have a look at the trailer for Mascarpone.
Amore, che c'hai?
Ma le cose non vanno più bene da un pezzo.
È fatta di momenti che non possiamo prevedere, di cose che capitano così all'improvviso, che si trasformano.
E puff. Puff.
Dennis?
Ah, ma tu sei il tizio della stanza. Vieni, prendiamoci un caffè.
È da una vita che vivo sempre solo con una persona.
Antonio, non sei più sposato. Prima di cercare l'amore, devi trovare te stesso, piano piano. E poi Antonio è bravissimo in cucina.
Ma che ne sai?
Guarda che male.
Ad ogni modo, sta botta e via. Ti è piaciuto o no?
Una notifica vale più di 100 parole. Un omosessuale che fa una rainbow cake. Avanguardia assoluta. Beh,
Dignitoso, dai.
ottimo. Next!
That's a lovely trailer you made. Thank you.
Well, I made it myself. No. What's nice about doing this kind of stuff is it's much easier if you've enjoyed the film. But I have managed to do this kind of thing with films that I didn't like.
Okay.
Like this one.
Like, no.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
okay.
I've seen this film twice, and like a good sort of delivery, I'd be more than happy to have a third helping
Wow.
of this film. Yeah.
We're glad.
By the way, what is the most popular delivery service in Italy?
I think Glovo or Just Eat or Uber Eats or Deliveroo, maybe the same one as in England, I think.
Oh. Anyway, we're not here, obviously, to talk about the Deliveroo services. For those who've joined us, this is Sofa Club, and we're here, obviously, to talk about Mascarpone. For those who haven't seen the film yet, and I can't imagine why there are such people here in the United Kingdom, and for those who didn't understand the trailer, Matteo, I'll ask you first of all, can you tell us what the film is about?
Okay, so basically, the film is a self-discovery story disguised as a romantic comedy set in a world populated by, among a group of people who happen to be gay. And so it's the story of Antonio, who's in need of a big change in his life when he's suddenly dumped by his husband, who basically he lives for his husband. And so when his husband dumps him, Antonio needs to find a new home, needs to find a job for the first time in his life, and needs to find a new purpose in life. And so that's where the story begins. And thanks to his friends, Christina, then Dennis, and Luca, he's going to discover something that he was missing, maybe, and that maybe he neglected too much his own identity, his own desires. Not only related to relationships and stuff, but also about self-growth and what's the word? When you succeed at something, when you do something in your work. And so he begins working at Luca's bakery shop. Luca is played by Gianmarco here. And then he starts attending pastry school, and well, that's how the story goes, basically. Did I say it right, guys?
Don't spoil it so much.
That's definitely the film that I saw. But I do want to congratulate both of you for writing the film and directing the film. I think it's always interesting when you have two people working together, and I think without it becoming too much of a love fest between us, you have delivered a story which is substantially more than just a romantic comedy, although I love romantic comedies, so there's nothing wrong with those. But you have introduced, I think, depth and complexity to the film. Now then, I'm not quite sure whether this was a deliberate decision on your part, but what I'm getting at is, you kind of present during the film the delights of a one-night stand versus maybe the complexity of having to work on a long-term relationship. And you've managed to do that, I would dare say, without it being too judgmental. Was this a deliberate decision on both your parts in that you wanted to share with the world that gay men and gay relationships, that these come in many different forms, and that you wanted to challenge perceptions? And Alessandro, do you want to have a go on that one?
Yeah, I think when we wrote the movie with Matteo and Giuseppe, the other screenwriter, we are three people that we wrote the movie 2 years ago, and we would like to describe the life of a single man, a man who, for the first time, is single in his life. And to be single for a gay man is not where you are 30, where you are 35. It's not so a big nightmare as the world or the community wants that you are, because you're not alone. You're just single. And I think that at the same time, you have, when you are single, more opportunities to understand what you really want. I think that we were born, our generation, we were born with this purpose that we have to be in a couple to be happy. You know what I mean, Berwyn? And I think that especially this thing in Italy is for girls, for women, and also for gay men. If you are gay and you are alone, and if you are single, you are not happy for the community. Do you know what I mean? So I think that the most important thing is that the movie describe that you can have happiness if you are single, and you can have friends, and you can have a better life if you were in a bad story, in a bad couple.
You also, I don't think the film preaches in any way, but I definitely got the idea that the film suggests that you should protect elements of your life, your self-identity when you're in a relationship. The film doesn't seem to talk about compromise, though. So when you are in a relationship, is it okay to compromise, and how far should you compromise? What's your opinion on that?
My opinion is that you don't need compromises. If you make some compromises, maybe you will never happy. Because I think that the most important thing is that you have to do what you feel. You know what I mean? I think that there are a lot of my parents, they have a lot of compromises to have a long story. I think that the most important things for our generation, for everyone, is that to be happy, you have to do what you really want, and you don't have find some excuse. Do you know what I mean? I think that basically you have to be brave to find your way, and you don't have to make compromises with everyone, with your job, with your friends too. I think with the people that you hang out. I think that the most important thing is that you have to find your way and don't never make compromises.
I strongly disagree here, since I think the art of compromise is very important, because I mean, compromise is always necessary in the world, because you can't always one can't always do what he wants, what he or she wants, because you need to adapt to different circumstances, and so compromise is like growing up in a way. But as you said, Berwyn, the film doesn't give answers. Maybe it poses questions, and that's why Alessandra and I have different opinions about compromise, for example.
Because I think what you've achieved in the film is, you know, and I think maybe we'll talk about casting and acting and actors and access to actors in a minute. But Antonio, he's 30, isn't he, when he finds himself adrift, and he obviously finds it very difficult emotionally, economically, and but what you've managed to do is make sure that Antonio, when he's rediscovering himself, not at any point did I feel that he was a selfish person. How did you manage to achieve that? Is it purely the baby face of the actor who plays Antonio?
Yeah,
because he gets away with murder, you know, all the way through the film. I'll have a bit of this, I'll do a bit of this, and da-da-da. But you always feel sort of, I was always sympathetic to him.
Yeah, that's a characteristic that drew us to Giancarlo in the first place, because Giancarlo was already very popular in Italy through a TV series called The Scum, where it's an international TV series that has many remakes around the world, and in the Italian version he played the bad guy there. That in the first episodes he was behaving very badly, but then again he had this quality about his face, about his acting. He made an unsympathetic character feel sympathetic, and that's exactly what we needed for the character of Antonio. So yes, casting is very, very important, because maybe another actor with less sympathetic qualities could have turned the character of Antonio less agreeable, because in the beginning, especially, we're not used to see in films a male character which is subdued to a lover or something. It's something that it's usually seen as I don't know, unpleasant to watch, and so it was very important for us to have Giancarlo. He did an amazing job, as all the other players in the film did, of course.
So before we move on to look at the next clip, can I just have a vote of hands? Compromising within a relationship, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? So if it's hands up, if it's a bad thing, keep your hands down. So hands up if it's a good thing. Okay, bad thing, hands up. So, okay, Gianmarco, you're suggesting it's both.
Sorry?
Gianmarco, are you suggesting that it is a good thing and a bad thing? Was that
It's
right?
a good thing. No, it's a good thing with both hands.
Okay.
It's a good thing. It's totally a good thing. I mean, it's all about that. I think compromising, it's the problem is when you see compromising as a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing. It's a way to grow up together. And I move some steps to you, and you do the same thing to me. So it's a good way to meet us. It's just about that. So it's a good thing for me.
Well, in a strange way, if there'd been too much compromise with
Of
Antonio
course.
and his original boyfriend, we wouldn't have had a film.
I mean, Berwyn, when you have to sacrifice your honor, when you have to sacrifice your, I don't know, your ideas, I think that it's
Yeah,
better.
but that's I
When-
mean
when-
I agree with that.
when you
I
made
totally agree with that. But it's if you do it in a healthy way, that's a good thing. That's the only way that's the only way to be in a couple, I think.
I think that often is not a good way, but it's a sadistic and masochistic way. But anyway, Berwyn, we can keep on.
Oh well,
We
can I
have-
just say, I think we need to go for a clip. It's getting a bit too hot in the kitchen for me at the moment. So let's take a look at the next clip.
Immagino che sia un percorso di coppia.
Massaggi ce li dobbiamo fare a vicenda. Guarda, mi sa che è il tuo giorno fortunato, io sono un campione a farli. C'ho un PhD giusto in quello.
Che fortuna.
Dai, cominciamo. Sdraiati. No, Poglianna, dall'altra parte. Stai attento ai rigonfiamenti. Vieni. Ecco qua. Lo sai che secondo un'antica credenza thailandese, praticamente i nostri piedi sono direttamente collegati al nostro cuore?
Chi te l'ha detta sta cazzata? No, scusa.
Dai, dall'altro lato.
Ho già finito.
Siamo stati stressati in questo periodo, eh? Senti qua. La schiena di un uomo è come la sua scacchiera.
Oh, ok, sei bravissimo a fare i massaggi ora. Che dici se raggiungiamo gli altri?
Sì.
Oh, good God alive. There we are. Not a lot of cooking happening there, but sorry, that wasn't even funny, did it? But anyway, kept me going for a bit. Can we talk a little bit about how you made, what decisions you made about portraying straight people in the film? I think we have a lot of diversity within the gay characters that we see, but in a strange way, some of the straight characters, as far as I'm concerned, are almost not heteronormative in the way that we see them and all that. So I'm not quite sure, Matteo, Alessandro, when you were creating these fiction characters, what was going through your minds? What when you were sketching out the straights, as it were?
Matteo is inspired by his friends. Go, Matteo. Tell him. Tell to Berwyn.
No, actually, we wanted to play the other way around because for years, characters who are not straight in films have always been portrayed like a humorous character who brought the fun in, and they were like the butt of the joke. And here in this film, we switched. We reversed this stereotype in a way. So the straight characters in the film are a bit stereotypical, of course, because Cristina and Paolo especially are a straight couple, and Paolo is probably the only straight man that talks in the film. And he's a very funny character, and he always says the wrong thing. He's funny, and so he's the butt of the joke, of course. And he was played by Alberto Paradossi, who did a great job in making him so nasty, but very, very funny. And so yes, we played with stereotypes, and we got our little, I'd say, revenge, maybe.
No, it's not a revenge, Berwyn. The real thing is that Matteo is inspired by his friends, because Cristina is totally. It's a mask of one of his best friend of Matteo. The real name is, I think that we can say Matteo is Sonia, and I think that Ciao Sonia, and she's quite similar to the character of Cristina, that she's quite funny too. And Michela Giraud, she's the actress that made this role very, very funny, because she's an actress, but at the same time she's a very quite famous stand-up comedian here in Italy, and I think that she has good qualities, and at the same time I think that she's I think that we were inspired to by Rupert Everett in the, I don't remember the name of the title of the movie.
My Best Friend's Wedding.
The Best Friend's Wedding. It's quite similar, because there Julia Roberts his best friend that is gay, and I think that Rupert Everett was the actor, right, Matteo? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'd like to sort of, again, I've got to stop congratulating you because this is becoming ridiculous. But
no, please go on. We love flattery.
Yes.
But all the characters are lovable. There isn't, anybody that you would not want to spend some time with. You might want to spend more time with one or two, but anyway, you know what I mean. One of the things, and I'll be honest, I've also looked at the international reviews for the film, because I thought it was just me, but everybody, and I mean everybody, comments on the beautiful pace of the film. It is like cooking, and I think, and many other commentators think, that choosing that pace that you've got has allowed you to deal with some issues which may be more difficult in a way, which maybe we couldn't have if it was just like a wham bam, like super duper quick. Was that a deliberate decision at the beginning of your journey in creating this story? The pace is what I'm getting at.
But no.
Well, yeah, the film has a very particular pace, and on this issue we talk about it a lot with Gianmarco, because the film has very short scenes, and we love to take the what we are talking about doesn't finish in just one scene. We go on from one scene to another in a very fast way, and it's all the scenes are intertwined, as it should be in cinema in a way. So I'm not saying anything particularly new or interesting here. So yes, we wanted to have the film have a fast pace, and as Alessandro says, we wanted the film to move with Antonio's heartbeat, because at the beginning the pace is a little slower, and then it goes faster as he gains the control over his life, and then at the end the pace is a little slower again because he falls in love. And so we wanted to modulate the pacing of the film through the journey of Antonio, and the pace was at service of the story we were telling. So yes, it was absolutely deliberate.
Gianmarco, when you were bringing your character to life, how much scope was there for you to add to what was in the script? And I'm not talking ad-libbing or anything, but was there anything that you felt that you were able to add to the story?
I think so. And maybe my director would agree with me. Just because, when we started working on a movie and on a script, I thought that Luca was maybe just a little bit bidimensional, probably because it was like so solid and so strong. In Italy we say l'uomo che non deve chiedere mai, the man who doesn't have to ask anything.
Alpha man, I think.
Alpha man, yeah, some sort of it, because he gets whatever he wants, whoever he wants, and I think that was a little bit boring, probably. And this is what I usually do with my character in all the other stuff I've done in my life. I try to find like a sort of scar in the character, and I think that is, I mean, it is really nice to see how Luca gets really in touch with Antonio at the end of the movie. I mean, we don't talk about that at the end of the movie, but you can feel it, and that's what I try to add at the character and in the end. So I think my director agrees with me. Probably.
Well,
I agree, but I think that we gave freedom to every actors and actresses to improve and put something about that characters if they want, because I think that the most important thing of Mascarpone is that it's credible. I don't know if we can say, Matteo, that it's real. I don't know how to say. We would like that everyone can bring something. Every actors and every actress can bring something to their characters to make the movie not more real, more emotional and real at the same time, right?
Really?
I love bi-dimensional character like James Bond. I think that, or Batman. They are wonderful.
Yeah, but we
that,
didn't have the same budget of
yeah
of James Bond, so that's why we tried to do something else.
And same actors too. Anyway, no, I'm joking, Gianmarco. But I think that the most important thing is what Gianmarco said. All the characters, maybe on the script, they are bi-dimensional, and I think that they gave a soul to everyone. And in fact, also if you can take a small role in this movie, I think that there is something that maybe it's not memorable, but like you say, okay, I remember that, and then when you when you stop to watch the movie, you can say, okay, I think that something we leave something in your heart. I hope so, right, Matteo? It's our mission, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, making a film is a collective experience, and the more you can take from other people involved, especially in a project like this, because when we decided to do the movie, we didn't know if we were going to make it. We didn't know whether it would have a distribution or not. We just wanted to do a movie. It was born out of love. And so all the people involved, there was very little money involved. And so all the people that came in and take part in the project, they did it because they believed in it. And I'm not only talking about the players, also the amazing crew we had. Each and every one of them brought more to the table than what they were supposed to do. And Gianmarco was a little bit, I think, right now in telling the story, it was a little bit reductive, because I think what he did with Luca was amazing, because he didn't change any of his lines particularly, but he played the scene in a different way so that we can see, even if Luca doesn't say anything at all, from the way Gianmarco plays the same line we wrote before, he puts substance in it, and we can see that, hey, Luca is falling for Antonio. It's not just possessed when, at one point, I don't want to spoil.
Don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil anything. It's he's in love, and I think when Gianmarco came to us with the idea, and we embraced the idea because it was such a smart idea. He gave his own interpretation of the character, and when you're able to do that with the people you're working with, it's the best possible scenario. It's everything's easier, and the credit goes to the writer and directors. So
in fact, Berwyn, you said
more.
You said right. They had a lot. They had a lot, and I don't know why Gianmarco, all the actors trust so much, because I'm not joking. When we started, Mascarpone was a really independent project. You know, that kind of project. Like, especially sometimes the movie just finish in a room, or never be aired, or never be on a screen. So I think that they really trust in us, and I think because we try to make something different here in Italy, a kind of different project.
Well, I'm going to be talking more about Italy and more about making these kinds of films in Italy shortly. Can I just say, no spoilers, but I'm never ever going to forgive you for what happens to Dennis. We'll just leave it there. On a collaboration note, though, let's take a look at another clip to remind us of how wonderful Mascarpone is.
Chiamo gente a cena?
No, sto cucinando per me.
È normale cercare rifugio nei dolci quando si soffre per amore. Però di solito si mangiano, chérie.
Ma quale rifugio? Sto facendo delle prove da proporre a Luca.
Senti, mi fai una foto mentre infili il cazzo nella torta di mele?
Ma se solo avvicini qualcosa alla mia torta di mele, giuro che te lo taglio, guarda. Poi voglio vedere come fai. Questo mi serve.
Once again, another clip without our Gianmarco. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm not in the movie.
There are a lot of scenes because they can watch Gianmarco now, and so they.
no, his clips are all too hot for YouTube.
It's true.
Don't make me feel bad. I didn't choose any of the clips, by the way. So
No, no
Peccadillo.
worries. No worries. I mean, it's so nice to see these clips because, I mean, I've not been watching the movie for a long time. It's been a long time. So it's so nice to see the movie, and I really think it's a good movie. So thank you so much for remembering me.
And you love so much your colleagues, Gianmarco, right?
Yeah, I do.
Friends. They are friends.
I do.
Right, hello. Me, ask questions. Stop it.
Sorry, we're Italians.
No, listen. No. The problem is I could just listen to all three of you talking to each other. You don't actually need me. The film.
Oh, don't say that. We need you.
Well, I was waiting for you to say that, obviously. So thank you very much.
Something in this interview.
The film deals with what I would say is universal themes, which obviously we've already talked about. However, and this is open to all three of you, are there any specific elements to the story which you would consider Italian?
Nothing. It's international, Matteo, I think. But maybe I think, I don't know if mascarpone is so quite famous tiramisu in England. It's not. You have cheesecake, you have profiterole, I think, but it's not so famous tiramisu in it's just Italian. I think it's an Italian dessert, right? I don't know if I.
Oh no, tiramisu is unbelievably popular here in Wales, in Cardiff, and I'm fairly certain that England and Scotland and Ireland that they also.
I went so many times. I never went to Wales, but when I went to England or when I went to Scotland too, I never saw in a shop or in a pastry tiramisu. Am I right, Gianmarco? You go a lot of times. You go a lot of times in London. You see a tiramisu on a shop or on a pastry.
No, I mean you can not so usually, but you can find mascarpone in every market, I think. So
yes.
That's why we named the movie in that way. I think so.
Yes. But
because
anyway,
it's so Italian.
There are so many elements. I think that the good thing of this movie that everyone in every country, in every European and country can find everything, every elements, every ingredients that are the same, right, Matteo? I think that you never watch Rome. I don't know how to say it. You don't see Colosseum. You don't see any landmarks or places of our beautiful city, because I think that we would like to make a movie really international and that everyone can understand. But I don't like this kind of way to make movies, because I think that more is personal and more is real and more is emotional. But in the same time, I think that when we wrote Mascarpone, we thought that maybe we could have an audience, a small audience or a big audience, but international, right?
Okay, well, maybe I stand corrected then, but I actually thought that the passion for food and the passion for good food
And also
baking
opera.
and bread, and
Passion
it
for food
was
is everywhere.
that was. I thought that was quite Italian, because you get the sense that the English in particular, and Britain in particular, people always think of fast food and eating quickly and just getting out. That's changing, but I've always enjoyed my trips to Italy because there is the love affair with food and wine. But you're saying that that's not. Are you saying that that's not intrinsically Italian then?
But Berwyn, everyone in every country love cooking and love having sex. So I think that. Anyway, Matteo, go you.
No, I think it's very specific in a way. It depicts a group of Italian people, and of course, the language is Italian. The bodies are Italian. The story is Italian, and there's opera, there's food, and so these ingredients are also are part of our heritage, but they're also universal, because that's some of the things which Italy is famous for. So in a way, I mean, it wasn't intentional, because the funny thing about opera was that that came from a suggestion from another actor, Giancarlo Commare, who played Antonio, and he said it would be funny if Dennis has something of his own that we can share together, maybe like a song or something. And so we had no money to buy rights for pop songs or commercial songs, so
This is the truth.
opera was cheaper in a way, and I happen to like opera, but it's not like I'm an expert of opera or something. It's just something that in my family we listen to opera. We go to see opera at the theater. My grandfather used to listen to opera on the radio when he was working, and so he sings opera around the house. That's very Italian, isn't it? Yeah. And so in a way, that's how opera entered in our film. It was a suggestion that we turned we made a compromise about, because this is a compromise gone well, and it gave more depth to the story, to the characters, and also a flavor that was recognizable anywhere outside Italy, and yet be very specifically Italian.
I don't necessarily want to out anybody, but obviously there is a big international conversation, especially from the States, sweeping over here about gay, playing gay, not playing gay, authenticity, and all of that stuff. How difficult was it to cast the film? And is that conversation happening in Italy about
No, I think that it was quite easy to cast. I think that Matteo, you make a strange face. Why?
No. I agree with you. It was very easy to cast the actors, and of course we Alessandro knew some of them personally, so maybe he was aware of their sexual orientation. For example, I wasn't. So the first time I met with Gianmarco, the first thing I asked him was not what his sexual preferences were, or if he was single, or if he had a relationship with anyone, because that we discovered throughout our knowledge, and when we became close and we started talking about our private life. But when we did the casting, of course, all we wanted to see was that he was he was good for the character, and he was and gave a realistic portrayal. So I know there are different sensitivities about this matter, but I think that that's the beauty of the work of an actor, to be but I mean, I would let Gianmarco answer the question, because I think it's very specific about what he does. I mean, I don't want to say what's beautiful about his job. He knows it.
No, I mean, in Italy we have the same kind of questions probably, because I remember when we firstly came out with the movie, I remember Amazon talked to us about this possible question that maybe some journalists would ask us. But I mean, that's what Matteo said. When I go to an audition, both straight or homosexual role, I don't care about that. A director is not going to ask me if I'm straight or homosexual or whatever. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the soul of a character, and that's all. And so,
yeah, I think it's been asked for decades and decades, and I remember the fantastic British actor Simon Russell Beale. He was on our jury, and he responded to somebody who asked the question, and he said, "It's called acting, darling."
it's called
Yeah.
acting. Yeah.
I agree
But,
with him.
yeah, I think there are issues sometimes where it's a legitimate conversation to be had, but not always. I was going to ask about specifically Giancarlo, and he obviously took the let me get this right, the best performance in a male role, sponsored by Attitude magazine, and it was presented to him, obviously. What was that like for you as a team, seeing the lead recognized in that way? Did you know that the performance had hit the right notes where he would be getting that kind of recognition?
I mean, I can tell about the recognition. I mean, when you're an actor, you're not aware of the possible recognition of the public. But everyone was aware that Giancarlo was performing a beautiful performance. So when I started working with Giancarlo during the auditions, and then some rehearsals, and then with the movie, and I saw all the beautiful trip that he made with Antonio. So it was a great work, in my opinion.
Gianmarco, can I just say you're one of the most generous actors I've had the pleasure of talking to. You're absolutely lovely. And it may be an opportune moment for us to remind ourselves of the fantastic acceptance speech that Giancarlo made at Iris earlier this year.
Hi. Hello, Iris Prize Festival. Hello, Cardiff. And thank you very, very much. I'm truly honored by this award, which warms my heart and blesses me with a great pride for the work I've done with Antonio. I poured my whole heart and mind into this role, so I'm super excited. I'm very excited that my performance was so well received, both in my home country, Italy, and in the rest of the world as well. Such an amazing surprise for me. It's true, no? It's true. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I wish I was there to celebrate with you all. I would like to thank of my two best directors, Matteo Pilati and Alessandro Guida. And let me to express one last thought before saying goodbye. Try to live by not recording who you are or what you like, but be it. Discover yourself as much as possible. Get to know each other. Learn to love each other. It's the best gift you can do. Have fun, and thank you.
I think it's worth reminding ourselves that the jury for Best Feature Film, Best Acting, blah, 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 were film students. So they were all young individuals, and it was I think that performance was an easy one for them. So, well, congratulations on hitting that target audience, which I think all of us are trying to reach. Talking about LGBTQ plus stories, can you explain a little bit about how easy or how difficult it is to get those stories from here onto a screen? It's that difficult, is it?
Yeah, it was because at the beginning we tried to pitch the script to producers and distributors to find some kind of money to produce the film. But each and every one of them told us this film isn't going anywhere because it's nicely written, but it's not a masterpiece. It's too mainstream for a gay film and too gay for a mainstream film. And so it doesn't have, no one doesn't have a public. And we're very proud that we proved them wrong, because the public has everywhere, I'd say now, because now we're talking to you and you're in the United Kingdom, and that's not so usual for an Italian film to be distributed there. And so this fills us with great pride. But then again, we didn't do anything really special. We just told a story that it was dear to our own hearts. We basically, when we wrote it, we talked about our own lives, because we wanted to make a film that that didn't exist, because otherwise, if it's the only reason why we make films, right? To do something that wasn't done before. So, I mean, we proved them wrong, and we hope that our example could set a good example for other storytellers who in Italy or elsewhere want to tell a story with main characters that are not necessarily straight and heterosexual straight.
I'd love to talk to you more about your history and your filmmaking past and making shorts and all of that stuff. But unfortunately, time is against us, and we do have some questions from the public who've been watching and listening. So I'm going to cut straight to that, and I'm hoping at some point we might have another opportunity to talk to you. And dare I say it, using this, maybe we can invite one of you to join the Iris jury next year. Anyway, just planting that one, taking full advantage of this situation. Anyway, this is a question. How did you find working with two directors? Who you were rather working with, and who did you... Okay, that's very
Let's
funny.
go on. Another question, please.
Gianmarco, how did you find working with two directors, and who you rather working with the most? You don't have to say that, because I think that is somebody teasing you.
It was the first time for me working with two directors, and as you see, they think so different. So it was, I mean, every actor had to manage to work with them, because Matteo was more, I don't know how to say, but Alessandro was probably more used to be on a movie set. Instead, for Matteo was really the first time, because he was coming from so different work and jobs. But I think they matched quite well. At least to us, probably in their room talking to each other was not so easy, but it's been nice. It's been a wonderful trip, and I mean, I've just finished a new movie with Matteo, and with just Matteo, and I don't know, probably in the future I would be working with Alessandro, because it was a great team.
That's useful, and as if by magic. Here's another clip. This is just to prove how harmonious the whole thing was. Here's some behind-the-scenes montage. Let's have... Well, that looked like fun. I'm assuming you. When did you actually shoot the film? Was it pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, yeah.
Pre-COVID, like 1
was-
month pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah,
Wow.
January or February.
January, February 2020.
Wow.
Anyway, Berwyn, can we say just thank you, just not to the actors and the actresses, but also to our incredible crew. If you watch the images of the backstage, they are all young, all really young, and I think that 50% of our crew was the first experience with a movie, with a feature. So,
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant because obviously, you know, that's the way forward to enable the next generation to have an opportunity. Questions. I'd like to thank Enrico for the last question. We had the provocative one about which director did you prefer? Well, I think that's what they were trying to say. Angelo wants, okay, I'll just read this out. The depiction of gay life is so smooth and really and real and looks, quote, normal and regular. That was so refreshing and liberating for the Italian audience. How did you work specifically on that?
We basically drew from our own lives without trying to spectacularize. Or is spectacularize a word in English? No, isn't it? Without exploiting it. We didn't do gay exploitation. We just wanted to tell a regular story and try to do it in the earnest way possible. So I think that was a secret. We were not making a gay film. It was we were making a film who happened to be about gay people with a very strong identity. So the point was not to depict Italian gay life, which is or LGBTQ plus in Italy. It was just a story about a small group of people who happened to be part of that very community. So I think that's the reason why it touched Angelo's heart, but also other people's.
And I think this might be the last question, but it's all three of you, I think, might have a different answer, or maybe you will have the same answer. This is from Lincoln, and basically wants to know, do you have a favourite scene, either on, you know, what's in the finished film, or a favourite scene which you shot on the day, which is very, very interesting, two separate things. But can you all choose your favourite scene? Who wants to go first?
I can't make spoilers, so I think that one of the.
Who cares about spoiler? I mean, the movie is out since 2 years, so just
yeah, I know. But anyway, I think that there's a very beautiful scene that I don't remember, Matteo. I think that it's not on the script. It's a scene where we have Dennis and Antonio and Luca. They are all together. And they start to have a kiss, okay? And I think that scene was really, really incredible because I think that it's in the same time emotional and authentic. Matteo,
my favorite one is scene 71, which is the first encounter after the sex between Thomas and Antonio, where Antonio opens up with him unexpectedly and tells him about his grandmother and the fact that she wanted to do mascarpone by herself. And I love the glance that Giancarlo gives to Lorenzo, who plays Thomas, at the end of a scene when Thomas asks him what he's going to do on the next day. And I think here we should mention the music in the film, and the score on that particular scene is so much effective, and the composers Umberto Gaudino and Jean-Michel Snyder did an amazing job. And so, yes, I think it was the second day of work, and Alessandro and I were still getting along at that point. No, I'm kidding. We were already arguing, And so it was very magical because it was the first time I saw the magic of cinema right in front of my eyes, and I was doing it. So yeah, I'm very fond of that scene, but I'm fond of the whole film as well. Gianmarco, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite one is the first time me and Giancarlo kiss in the bakery. It's a long kiss, and it's been a long scene, so it's my favorite one, indeed.
I remember
Did you have to rehearse that scene many times?
Not so many rehearsals, but so many talks, so many shots, and that was fun. Anyway, that was really fun.
Berwyn, I remember that when we were on the set, we were shooting that scene, and there are all the crew near the monitor watching because the bakery is underground. And I remember that there are every one of the crew that say, "Don't say stop, please, don't say stop," because it's a long scene.
Very good, very good. So there is a director's cut. There is another slightly extended version. I spoke too soon. We have more questions coming in. Wow, but we are running out of time. But let's ask these questions. Right, Ralph wants to know: were any of Antonio's adventures based on the director's experiences? That's a yes, obviously.
Matteo is like a priest.
I'd say all of them, Ralph. So yeah, I mean, any of us had experiences like those, because on the dating apps you can find people who just will turn you down on the first appointment. You can find great sex. You can find not so great sex. You can find a friend, or you can find someone who's very close to Prince Charming. I mean, it's just a medium like anything else. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and it depends on the use that you make of them. I mean, and I don't like one thing we did do was that deliberately was that usually apps are described in a very with a lot of judgment in films, because it's always something that leads us into temptation, so to speak, while it's just a medium, and we wanted to tell it like it is for us. I mean, at least for me, I don't want to out anyone's I wouldn't say obsessions. I'd say
shall I move on to the next question then?
Customs. Yeah.
So move on to this. Okay, and we're getting there. We're getting there. This is for Matteo and Alessandro. It's from Samuel. With the concept of sexual identity changing so much, how would you define a gay film? That's that. Well, can I just say that is a really difficult question, but it's a really good question.
I don't know, Matteo. You?
I don't know, because it. I mean, even if I mean, let's say that I might do another film, and with the characters where the main characters are not gay, I think the film would be gay anyways, because and Gianmarco is laughing here, and in a while you will see what I'm talking about, because since my sensitivity is gay, and so basically anything I do in my life is can be etiquette as gay, I guess. So I don't think it's a matter of what's it's how you tell a story, not what the story is about.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you.
That's weird.
Lovely.
Really weird.
There's a good response in that. I think everything is fluid and transitional, and everything is changing, and whatnot. There are so many questions we could have asked, but we're going to finish with the last question from somebody called AJ. And AJ wants to know, what was the decision behind choosing the metaphor of baking? Why choose baking? Why was that a metaphor running through the film? Yeah.
I don't remember why, Matteo. I don't remember why.
I don't. We discussed many options because
Yes.
we even discussed that Luca owned a motorcycle shop. Or
Yes,
something.
I think that when I read the first script, he was yes. I think that he fixed motorbikes, and I say I don't know why. I say no, but maybe it's better if it's got something
Because
different.
motorbikes are more expensive than.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I think that it was casual, but then we wrote, and when we were writing, I think that we find the really theme of the movie. I don't know. Can we say theme, right?
Gianmarco, would you have rather preferred that Luca was the owner of a body shop where you repaired motorbikes and stuff?
No, because at least now I know how to bake. So, that's much better. That's much useful.
But can I just say, I have had, when you mentioned motorcycles there, I had visions of Gianmarco in motorcycle leathers. But we'll leave that for now and put that to one side.
For the next movie, for the next one.
The next one.
If that's okay, you've promised that live. Everybody's heard you. Thank you very much. Can I, at this juncture, just say thank you very, very much to Matteo, Alessandro, Gianmarco. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much. And that's your lot. The kitchen is closed. I think we've all had enough mascarpone for one sitting. This has been the Peccadillo Sofa Club. Thanks, obviously, to the BFI for the support in making it happen. From me and from my guests, good night. Nos da buena notte. Next week, we will be offering you an alternative viewing opportunity to the Football World Cup with In From the Side. Don't take my word for it. Let's have a look at the trailer.
Well, that was a tough game. I think I'm going to be walking funny for a few days after that. Now, for man of the match, well done, Mark Newton.
Are you in the A squad? I saw you at the clubhouse earlier, but I've not seen you around before.
Yeah, I've been out for a while with an injury. I'm Warren.
I think you're right.
I have a boyfriend. He's in my team.
So take a breath and feel your hand in mine, 'cause I'm by your side.
What are you doing this week? I want to take you out.
You're unbelievable.
Oh, John, these are my teammates. This is Pinky and Mark. Mark, I'm John. This is Warren, my partner.
Oh, you're going to be trouble.
For years, we fought tooth and nail to get the recognition and the respect that we now have as a serious club, not some novelty act. I won't go back to that.
You think I like having to hide this from everyone we know while I watch you parade around with him?
It's not the same.
Like, what is it you want from me?
I love you.
I hated rugby in school. Did you know that? Then I met all of you boys. It was like finding a family.
This isn't fair.
No, it isn't.
Breaking all the rules. Not doing so well, are we?